Hey guys, what's up? It's just Connor here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get high ticket sales clients or get a job opportunity or an offer or a business to work on, right? This can be called a number of different names, but long story short, there's a lot to cover. So there's no intro. Let's kind of dive in and get into the meat and guts of it. So the first thing is what to look for. So whether or not you're getting involved in the online education industry, like a lot of the guys I speak to are interested in getting into, or you're getting more into the mainstream side of the business when it comes to sales, like insurance, door-to-door, software as a service, which again, you can make plenty of money doing that. I know lots of guys are doing very, very well in those industries. You need to know in the online education industry not only how to hunt, but to like what specifically to look for, right? Because a lot of the guys who end up joining my program, they always go kind of like, is there enough opportunity, rah. And the thing is, a lot of the time, there is abundance of opportunity. There's plenty of business owners that want to work with you. There's plenty of business owners that want to definitely take advantage of your skill set. However, there is a very clear difference between plenty of people out there to good opportunities, right? And so what to look for specifically is, I guess, number one, you need to make sure that the business owner or the offer that you're going to work on you can actually make money, right? Because a lot of the times I see a lot of guys, they'll go, yeah, I got an offer, and they're super excited, but at the end of the day, they're almost a volunteer, which is my next point. But the first thing is you need to make sure that people are actually making money on the offer that you're looking to work with, right? Otherwise, you're going to be working with what I like to call an excited entrepreneur. They're probably less than $50,000 a month, and they don't really have the capabilities to actually get you a feasible income. They are just hiring a salesperson prematurely or way earlier than they should be, right? So you guys need to be looking out for yourself, because if you are a commission-only salesperson, you need to make sure like, okay, cool. Is this a business that I can actually work for and make money, right? Because I got caught in that trap when I first got started, and it was an opportunity that led me to where I am now today, but I worked several months on an offer. Granted, I didn't have the right skills, but I didn't make any money for 90 days, right? And that was purely because obviously I wasn't good at sales, but also the offer didn't really have the proven sales process or the capability for me to earn the income that I wanted to earn, right? So therefore, there was no point. It didn't make sense. Paired with that, again, you need to make sure that the fulfillment's great, right? Is the fulfillment good, right? Because if you're selling something that has bad fulfillment, right, or isn't actually helping the customers or the clients get the result that they're promising, then the offer's not going to last very long. And of course, I'm going to presume if you have a good conscience, it's not going to rest very well on your conscious selling something that is of poor performance and isn't actually helping people with what they're promising, right? Now, you may not know these things at a very high level, but it's definitely something to be aware of. Can you make the money? Do they deliver on their promises? Do they have leads coming in, right? There's so many questions that you need to be asking, but really just think with a little bit of common sense. I'm going to make a separate video on this more specifically, but you need to make sure that, again, you're actually vetting these offers as you're a business owner, because as a commission-only sales rep, you technically are, okay? Here's what to not look for. Number one, obviously, is it a scam? If it's a scam, obviously don't sell it, right? But a lot of the times people don't really know if it is a scam or it isn't a scam. Few determining factors. If they're paying upwards of 20% commissions, a little bit more than that, so 25% commissions, it's more than likely a scam. Reason why is because no business owner that I know has personally been able to figure out how to pay that amount of money to a salesperson while remaining profitable, right? They're probably cutting some corners when it comes to fulfillment for that specific, that range of commissions. So anything about 20% and above is definitely getting more towards the riskier side. But again, you kind of got to use your common sense and look for the red flags, but I can understand as a beginner, it's very easy to fall for them. As I haven't fallen for them, but I do know I have a lot of students that have fallen from the past, and that's why they need like a mentor to tell them what's good and what's not, right? Direct feedback. What else to not look for? Let me think. So one thing as well, you don't want to be caught in the growth specialist trap. There's a lot of times where I see students applying for roles and the business owner requires you to use your Facebook profile to generate leads. Now, sure, that can be okay in some circumstances and scenarios, but in most cases, they want you to be going and cold outbound and messaging people to generate your own leads for the business, sometimes even close them yourself, right? A lot of the times in those particular roles, you're doing 30% of the work for 10% or even 5% of the cut, 8% of the cut. It's just not worth it, right? It's not a appointment setting role and it's not a sales role. It's purely like you're running your own business underneath someone else's without running your own business. So it doesn't make much sense. Stay away from growth specialist roles. And the one other thing to be very careful of as well, which through the methods I'm going to show you, you will find these people, is there are going to be people out there that will want you to sign up with them. They'll ask you to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and they're going to train you up and then give you good skills and development, which shock horror, it's not very good. And then from there, they'll also say that they guarantee you placement, which is just simply not true. Something I want to break down as the guaranteed placement fallacy is it's simply not true. For people that are very new to the industry, for you to understand that someone's going to guarantee you placement, it doesn't mean much, right? The reason it doesn't mean much is because I can guarantee you placement inside of my training program, but that doesn't mean anything. That means that I could guarantee you placement on a shitty offer, to be quite frank with you, that's completely BS and it's not going to make you any money, right? But I've charged you $4,000, but I've still fulfilled on my promise, right? So guaranteed placements, sure, they could work to a degree, but I haven't seen them be fulfilled on extremely well on most different offers that I've seen out there. So be very, very careful of that as well. Okay. So let's talk about the mediums to look at. So obviously number one is Instagram. There's plenty of opportunity on Instagram. There's a lot of coaches that you can find. If you search up Tony Robbins and you go to his suggested profiles, you can see a bunch of coaches with blue ticks, tons of followers, verified, and they're going to be looking like a very decent business, right? So there's so many people that you can reach out to and actually just do your research, right? Use your common sense and actually think like, if I wanted to get if I'm good at sales, how can I get a job with this person? That might be by submitting contact forms. That might be by sending them a direct message saying like, hey, my name is X, what's going on? Here's my experience. Are you openly hiring for salespeople right now? More often than not, if they're more of an experienced entrepreneur, have a decent business, they're going to be able to, it's a very binary yes or no question. If it's a no, you can pipeline them for later on, whether or not it's 30, 60, 90 days, 4 months from now, you can then stay in their pipeline and you continue to follow up with them if that's someone that you really want to work with. The key thing with this, guys, is that you do your research. And with Instagram, it's relatively straightforward. You can send them that message with your experience. If you don't have experience, you can also fake it till you make it, right? I've done it in circumstances when I was first getting started out. I have students that, do that. It's up to you on what you believe is going to be best. But if you fake it till you make it and it works well, thumbs up. If it doesn't, you're probably going to lose the role pretty quickly. So even if you get past the initial hiring stages and you pass the first interview and you land the role, you're still going to have to perform. So you're either going to perform or you're going to fail flat in your face. And it's going to be important that you perform because reputation is really, really, really important within this industry, especially as networking is one of the primary ways that myself and my students get the best roles out there, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. So that's Instagram, right? Find some influencers, start with Tony Robbins, start with Grant Cardone, start with coaches and work your way down. And you'll start to gradually find more coaches as well out there that obviously have an online education business that you could possibly sell for. Reach out to them, build rapport, say that you're interested in their content, actually mean it, craft and compose messages. And the reason I'm not going to give you a specific message to be general and specific is that once you take this message and then who knows how many people will watch this video, right, in the future, if you're using the same message as everybody else, it's going to drown out the competition. So it's not going to really do much. Craft and compose your own unique message, right? Use ChatGPT, right? There's many different ways you can go about this, but that's what I would just recommend. Do your research, outreach to more people, and yeah, that's Instagram. So the second step, or the second other method I would recommend is Facebook, right? So Facebook, there is plenty of opportunity out there. There's, to be honest, a lot of abundance. But what comes with abundance is more competition, right? And with more competition, it becomes very noisy. The marketplace becomes very noisy. It's much harder to land a role. So the key thing with Facebook, because it's readily accessible to everyone, you have to do a lot of volume, right? And so what I mean by a lot of volume is on certain, like Facebook and Instagram, you might have a certain cap to the amount of people that you can message per day. But what I would love for you to do is aim for between 50 and 100 people per day. Don't make it copy and pasted. Make it relatively research and look into the person, because if you're full-time doing this, like there's no way that you can't be able to send 50 to 100 messages per day to people out there just to give you one shot. Because if someone's able to give you just one shot, that's all that you need to get your foot into the industry. And if you're relatively beginner, that's what you need to be doing, right? There's no excuses. You need to do enough outreach to make it unreasonable for you to win. Now back to the Facebook group stuff, right? As you can see, if I just go take a look down here, look, online golf simulator retailer, right? Looking for well-spoken outbound appointment setters and few closers, okay? So they sell, relatively high ticket, but again, this is more like a product, so it's probably not going to be the best fit for you. If I take a look, if you just keep on scrolling down, take a look. All right, let's keep going. There's usually a lot of, so who's here still looking for a gig, right? These guys are hiring. So the guys who run this group, phonesales.com, looking for closer appointment setters and wanting to learn best commission in solar industry. So solar industry, so not the online education industry. If you scroll down there, as you start to get down, there's opportunities everywhere, guys. A lot of opportunity. Like I mentioned, there's abundance of opportunity, but the skill of being able to select and navigate and pick the offers that are actually going to work really, really well for you and make you money is really, really important. And that skill in itself is something that develops and takes a lot of time and experience to get, or you can shortcut that with a mentor, right? So there's plenty of stuff in here. Now, if you search up in Facebook, just like, for example, to find these groups, you just go to high ticket. Oh, there we go. Heaps of ones. So just search up like high ticket sales jobs. You're going to find plenty of them. This is another great Facebook as well. Remote closing opportunity, commission only team members, cool, real estate marketing agency, hiring for foreclosure roles. So it's like you can see, guys, there's abundance of opportunity. It's just being able to delineate what is good and what is bad, right? And that's really, really important. So that's why we covered that a little bit earlier on in the piece. So like these posts, comment on these posts, reach out, and make sure that your profile is optimized. That's just really, really, really key, okay? So one thing a huge pitfall that I see all the time with Facebook and Instagram outreach is that people have really shit profiles, really, really shit profiles. And so if you don't look like a trustworthy person, if people can't gauge of who you are and what you do by just immediately looking at your profile, you're most likely going to struggle, because if you look like a spam or a bot or whatever it might be, people aren't going to respond to you, right? So obviously my page, way back when, if I scroll back a bit before I started a different business, there's, basically what I was doing was I was nurturing my profile, creating social proof, documenting the journey. So here's some footage from a mastermind event that I attended. You see cover photo here. So just showing that I'm a real person, personal branding, right? The biggest, the worst thing that I've seen is people posting saying, Connor, I haven't got any results from outreach on Facebook. And they show me their profile and it's a photo of them back in 2012 and they look like a child, right? Or it's in some dimly lit room where they look like they're in their mother's basement. Make sure that your profile looks good, guys, right? So you can see, again, this is my, just me documenting the whole process. And you can see huge engagement. What does this tell a potential employer when they look at my profile? That I'm legit, that I'm trustworthy. That's super, super important, okay? So that's the Facebook method, right? Outreach to a lot of people. Look at all the applications. There's plenty of opportunity out there. There's absolutely no excuse. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, if you're looking for more of a mainstream role, right, the best way to go about this more specifically is if you go to search by title, right, you can go for example, business development representative. You're going to find that there. If you go ahead and search that and you go to date posted to, let's say like the past month is good. And the key thing that you want to put here, the experience level, is entry level, right? Show that. And then what you want to look for a lot of the times is going to be best, because a lot of these roles are still remote. You can find remote roles. So you want to go ahead and select that. Now in Australia, there's not a lot of opportunities for entry level and remote roles, but if you had a little bit more experience, if you take a look at this, that almost 4 or 5x's the amount that you have available there, all right? So what you want to go and do is go ahead and apply to all these roles, send Loom videos, get creative, call the managers up, right? If you go into these different roles, you're going to find people that are hiring managers, right? A lot of people are really desperate for really good salespeople, or people that are really keen and especially have invested in their own sales training. So if you have that, you can leverage that in your interview and in your outreach process. So that's pretty much like the LinkedIn process, right? Search through these filters. You're going to find, especially if you go to entry level, right, you're going to find a lot of roles that are actively looking for people that have no experience, right? Can't get any more easy than that. Now, if you're looking at this in the US, there's probably going to be a lot more opportunity over there, which is fantastic. If you're looking at this in Australia, there's still plenty of opportunity out there. There's plenty of people that want to hire you. And software as a service is a great industry to get into. Insurance, door-to-door solar sales, it's really up to you, right? Depending on your preference, right? All right, so let me come back to my camera here, okay? So the last part, I guess the best way out of all of these methods that I've spoken about just now is networking. Now, why is networking the one thing that most people avoid? It's because it takes time, right? But as I think the famous Alex Hormozi says, great things take time, right? And so over 30, 60, 90 days, right? 4 months even, probably even less, you should be able to find a business that you want to work with that's going to tick all the boxes. You can make the money on the offer. There's probably a salesperson who already makes 10K a month on the offer. It's not a scam. They have great fulfillment. You're going to find these over time. But unfortunately, if you don't have a lot of time, you're going to have to go through the aggressive method through Instagram, Facebook, all those types of spots. But if you start to build relationships with people and you pipeline people, like I just spoke about before, is if, let's say you outreach to a business owner and they say, hey, we're not currently hiring right now, but we might be in the future. Fantastic. Talk to the business owner, build a relationship, regularly engage with the content so you stay front of mind. All that you need to have is one step in the industry. That's all that you need, right? And then you can start to build your experience, develop and perform, right, to a higher degree, right? But you just need an opportunity to do that. If you don't have an opportunity and you don't have a role that you can work on, that you can make money, that you can develop, that you can learn, then you're in trouble. And that's why I recommend, especially a lot of our students in Australia, to go for an SDR, so sales development role, or a business development role here in Australia, because you can get a salaried plus commissions role that you can get you a lot of experience, get paid, or basically earn while you learn. And more often than not, especially in Australia, and probably the same over the US, for the US guys watching this, you can earn while you learn, right? And a lot of the times in these roles, they're 2 or even 3 times the amount that you're probably earning in the current role that you have, right? For example, Ben, if you go through my YouTube channel, you're going to find a video of me and Ben, or Ben and I, where I talk about he went from a refrigeration mechanic with no skills, no experience, to 3xing his income in less than 14 days, right? Following this exact same strategy that I've outlined in this video, okay? So with that said, let's cap down an action plan. So an action plan to get your first role or get your next client, right, is going to be messaging anywhere between 50 and 100 people per day, right? Let's say that you do 50, right? That's going to be 1,500 messages in a single month, 1,500 touch points in a single month. If you do 100, that's over 3,000 messages in a single month. Obviously, doing the math there, would you say it would be unreasonable if in the next 30 days you weren't able to find a decent role if you outreach to 1,500 all the way up to 3,000 people? So that's pretty unreasonable, right? So what you need to do is, okay, establish the math, establish the game plan from what you've watched from this video, go out and apply to these different roles through the methods that I've shown you. Get creative. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to give you a general copy and paste structure because most people will probably just copy it and it'll get saturated very quickly, right? Do that. And by the end of the next 30 days, you should definitely have a role that you would have interviewed and started working with. But like I mentioned, networking is more of a long-term strategy, but the LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram strategy is more of the short term. Okay. So last final thoughts. How do you fast track all this? How do you just, this is exactly how to do it, but how do you fast track this? How do you get better skills more quicker, faster? How do you get better roles and build up your network more quicker and get better results? It would be by joining the Remote Sales Academy. That's the training that I run at the moment. That's basically helping 9-to-5ers or people who are just trying to get started in this industry and learn more about what it's about to get the right skills, get the right training, and get the right opportunities and put in the right networks where you can ultimately be way more successful and get your results much quicker, right? No, I'm not talking about guaranteed placement to where you're going to put you in a placement that I guarantee you that's ultimately BS and just complete shit and a waste of time. I'm talking about giving the skills so that you can hunt and ultimately never have to worry about money again. Not just from a sales perspective, but also from a job perspective. You'll know everything that you need to know to ultimately become successful. So if you're interested with that, shoot over to my Instagram, send me a message with the word start or closer, whatever it might be, or say, hey, I've seen your YouTube video and I want to learn a little bit more. Or on my YouTube channel, there should be a link somewhere to, there should be a type form to fill in or a link to book a call, and we can have a chat about it then. If not, cool, implement everything that I've shown you inside this video, and this should be well more than enough to get you your first sales client, your first offer, or your first job. Okay? Thanks for watching to the end, guys. Hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you in the next video.